Yo, guys, and as you can tell by the thumbnail and by the title of this video, I am back with another review, and this time it is the Raw after Saturday night's main event that happened 3 days ago now, technically, because obviously it's Tuesday today, and for me, Raw is at 1 a.m. in the morning, so I don't obviously film my review straight after Raw because it is in the middle of the night, so technically, Raw was last night, but technically, Saturday Night's main event was a few days ago, and obviously, it was the Saturday Night's main event that John Cena officially had his last match at, and yeah, so of course, I wanted to do a review because obviously, I need to and wanted to speak about Gunther because obviously Gunther was the one to retire John Cena, and yeah, and also last night's Raw was a pretty good Raw. As you can tell by the thumbnail, I always put my ratings for the Raws and SmackDowns. I don't do it for PLEs, but for Raw and SmackDowns, I always put the review in like the top corner, top right corner. Yeah, top right corner. And as you can see, I did give Raw last night a 5 out of 5 because I do feel that it was a very good Raw from beginning to end. Like every segment and interview was very decent to very good. And all the matches were we had one match that was a meh for me, and then but the rest of the matches were like very, very decent. So it was a overall very good Raw, and was definitely better than last week's Raw. So I couldn't rate it the same as last week's Raw, so I had to give it a 5 out of 5. As much as this Raw was really good, as you can tell by the thumbnail, by the 5 out of 5, my concentration for this Raw was not all there. And it's not because this Raw was terrible, because you're probably thinking, well, if your concentration wasn't on it, that means that this Raw wasn't good. No, it was just me just being distracted by other things that is happening next week. And that thing that is happening next week is that if you know me and you've seen other videos on my channel, then you will know that I'm a massive Stranger Things fan. You can see a poster right there. Volume 2 comes out next week, and yesterday before Raw, they dropped the Volume 2 trailer, and obviously I've watched that multiple times already, and I was just theorizing all day, and I had that on my mind all day, and yeah, so I couldn't really concentrate on Raw because I'm not gonna lie to you guys, Stranger Things is like just above wrestling at the moment because obviously it's the last season and etc, etc, etc. So my attention span when it comes to wrestling at the moment is quite at a low. So as much as Raw was good from what I did see and what I've heard from other people, it was good. Like I did watch it live, the whole thing, but yeah, my concentration for it was my own fault, not because of how bad Raw was last night, because it was me, because it wasn't bad last night at all. So yeah, it was my own doing. I've been being distracted by everything else. But anyways, let's get on to what happened on last night's Raw. Obviously, I don't write down everything that happened on Raw. I just write down the things that I want to talk about. So yeah, Gunther kicked off Raw, which I am so glad about because that needed to happen. And they've done it in the perfect way. I did give the segment as a whole like a high 3 out of 5 because I didn't feel it was quite on the 4 out of 5 level of a segment, because obviously it was quite quick. Like, it didn't say much, which is perfect. It is perfect that it went like that, but just couldn't give it a 4 out of 5 personally for me. But it was a very, very decent segment and a very, very decent start to Raw, but just not quite on the 4 level. Not quite. I think him coming back like more than twice, sorry, kind of ruined it a little bit, because it was just like it wasn't needed him to keep constantly coming back. But the first time he came back to the ring and the second time he came back to the ring, that was fine. But when he done it again, I was just a bit like, okay, it was a little bit overkill now for me personally. But it was still a very, very decent segment and a very good way to start off Raw. He was booed out the building, of course. He just retired and tapped out John Cena, so of course he's going to be booed. I think it would have been a bit weird and confusing if he was cheered, considering the reaction that was given to Triple H and Gunther on Saturday night's main event. Said that he done what he said he would do. He made John Cena give up, which he did. And he did say that. He warned us that he was going to do that. And I did say in my prediction video for Saturday Night's Main Event that that's exactly what's going to happen at Saturday Night's Main Event. I said it, and it happened. Said he tapped out like a little bitch, obviously meaning John Cena. Said it is his time now, and will forever be known as the man who made Cena tap out. It was a perfect promo. The only negative I personally have from it is that the constant coming back was just a little bit too much for me. That's the only negative I have about this whole segment. Like, literally the only negative to the reasoning why I didn't quite give it a 4 out of 5. For me personally, anyways. And before we speak about the last bit that happened, this is why Gunther was the perfect man for the job, because he is there to make money and do what he loves to do and has always dreamed of doing, which is wrestling in a wrestling ring. No matter what ring it is, he loves wrestling, right? He loves the wrestling side of it, and of course the making money side of it. He don't give a fuck what the fans think of him, because he is the ultimate heel, and he's always been a heel, because that's just the type of like character that is suited for Gunther, that it makes sense for him to be now, like kind of like a legend killer. I feel like he's just gonna end up retiring like everybody next year and over the next couple of years. I feel like it's gonna be Gunther, because he's a perfect man for the job. Sorry if you can hear that buzzing. I don't know what the hell's going on out there, but sorry if you can hear that. He's a perfect man for the job because he doesn't care, like, and that's a good person for the job, because if they use somebody that took it to heart that he was getting like booed and the fans didn't like him anymore because he retired John Cena, then that would ruin his career. So giving it to someone like Gunther, who just doesn't care because he's just here to do his job, is the correct decision. And the way that he spoke on the mic was the correct decision as well. So it was a very, very good start overall. But yeah, after he left the ring and went into gorilla position, the camera followed him and he bumped into American Alpha, or Alpha American. Oh no, it's American Alpha, isn't it? I put Alpha American on it, who obviously pissed off that Gunther made John Cena tap out. He then bumped into R-Truth, who was very pissed off that he retired his childhood hero, John Cena, and made John Cena tap out. I can see Gunther retiring R-Truth. Yeah, I can definitely see that. And then he bumped into Adam Pearce, who told him to leave the building and called him an arsehole. And then he bumped into AJ Styles, who was sitting on Gunther's car. He's retiring AJ Styles, like, at WrestleMania, like 110%. AJ Styles will retire at WrestleMania, and the man to retire AJ Styles will be none other than the Ring General, Gunther. I think Gunther's going to be retiring majority of the wrestlers next year. I think he will retire Chris Jericho, R-Truth, AJ Styles, and Brock Lesnar. I think the only wrestler that I can see potentially retiring next year, but is not retired by Gunther, is Rey Mysterio, and he gets retired by his son, Dominic Mysterio, because I can see them doing like a hair versus career match at WrestleMania, because obviously Rey Mysterio wants to retire soon. He's already in the Hall of Fame, and he has said that he wants to retire soon. So I can see them doing a hair versus career match, and if obviously Dominic loses, he has to shave all of his hair off, and if Ray loses, he leaves WWE, and that's the end of his career, which I can see that happening at WrestleMania. So I think that's the only person next year that won't be retired by Gunther, is Rey Mysterio. But yeah, that was the first segment of the night, and like I said, I did give it a high 3 out of 5. And yeah, we also had two matches confirmed for January 5th. We have obviously Bron Breakker versus CM Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship, but we also have it made official that Rio, aka Rhea, and Io Sky will go head to head with the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane, for the Women's Tag Team Championship. I can also see them doing a triple threat for the Women's World Championship at the January 5th show as well, between Nikki Bella, Raquel Rodriguez, and Stephanie Vaquer, because of what happened on last night's Raw, that we'll get more onto when I speak about that match. But yeah, the first, oh no, actually, I was about to say the first championship on the night, on the night. No, sorry, we had also had a segment by Io and Rhea Ripley, because obviously they're having a title match on the first Raw in 2026. Rhea and Io also making their way down to the ring to speak about the fact that they were getting an opportunity at the Women's Tag Team Champions in a few weeks' time. And Asuka was in the crowd and missed Rhea Ripley as she was making her way to the ring. Kairi then dived onto Io Sky, and Io and Rhea were being attacked by Asuka and Kairi Sane. As Kairi Sane was about to deliver the elbow drop to Rhea Ripley, Io Sky made her way back into the ring and laid on top of Rhea as Kairi was making her way down to take the brunt of it, just so that Rhea didn't get elbow dropped. Io got elbow dropped instead, making the save for Rhea Ripley, which was a nice little touch to add on to this segment, because I wasn't expecting it. I was actually expecting Io and Rhea to speak for a little bit, and then Asuka and Kairi to make their way down and speak as well, and then a brawl happened. But I like that we didn't get any talking from any of them. We just got like a little mini brawl. Well, it wasn't really a brawl. It was more of a attack on Rhea and Io. So I quite like that. I did give it a moderate, like 3 out of 5, because I didn't think it was as good as the Gunther segment, but it was still a very decent segment to be a part of Raw. And I am excited for their tag team match in a few weeks' time. Can see Io and Rio, Io and Rio. What the hell? I just got them by the tag team them. Io and Rhea pick up the victory over the Kabuki Warriors and becoming our new women's tag team champions. To be honest, though, can see that. But yeah, as I was about to say before, I realised that this was the match after the Io and Rhea segment and Asuka and Kairi Sane segment. The first championship match of the night was for the Intercontinental Championship, and it was Maxine's first title defense since becoming the Women's Intercontinental Champion. And it was against Ivy Nile. I gave the match a low 3 out of 5. Yeah, from what I saw, I did watch the majority of this match, to be fair. And yeah, what I saw of it was a low 3 out of 5, because I feel like, considering the fact that Ivy Nile has not really wrestled that much this year, she didn't like mess up or anything or have any ring rust whatsoever. It's like she wrestled absolutely fine, as if she had had a match every single week. So, and Maxine looked really good. Well, not really good, but looked pretty decent as well in the ring. So, I do feel that it was a low 3 out of 5 match. It wasn't any worse or any better, but 3 out of 5 still better than a 2 or 1 out of 5. So I'm sure they will take that if they watch this video, which they won't, but you know. Ivy was pretty dominant for the most part, though. Like, Maxine didn't really have much offense in this whole match, which is a little bit weird. What the hell is going on outside? And then Maxie snapped into like angry Maxine, kind of similar to what's going on with Bailey at the moment, and started to destroy Ivy Nile. And then I only wrote down 3 things about the match that just, I think, goes to show that the match wasn't like crazy or anything like that. But there was pretty same moves throughout this match, to be honest with you. That's why I couldn't write down much. But Maxine was able to retain with the ankle lock and is still our Intercontinental Champion. I was expecting Becky Lynch to make her return and confront Maxine, but no, that didn't happen. Becky is still not on the show. But yeah, like I said, Maxine did retain her Women's Intercontinental Championship, and it was a low 3 out of 5 match. Sorry about all the banging if you can hear it. I don't even know if you can hear it, but I can hear it pretty clearly, so I'm presuming the mic is picking it up. But yeah, I'm going to check what that is quickly. Hang on. It's just some building works that's going on. But yeah, I'm very sorry, guys, that you can probably hear it. I might be saying sorry for the noise in the background, and you're probably thinking to yourself, well, we can't hear it, so it doesn't matter. But I don't know if you can hear it or not. But anyways, the next thing that we're going to talk about is a segment that happened on Raw last night, and that is the CM Punk segment, and definitely the best moment of the night for me by a mile, because I did give this segment a low 5 out of 5 because CM Punk absolutely cooked not just Bron Breakker, but his whole family, pretty much, that is in the world of wrestling. Because he cooked them all. Like, I mean, CM Punk's probably, personally for me, the greatest of all time on the mic. And I mean the greatest of all time. Like, he is number one for me, personally, on the mic, because he is just fucking incredible. And he cooks everybody, like, everybody. I know The Rock can cook people too, but he's had some times on the mic where he's not been the greatest. And I know John Cena can also cook everybody on the mic as well. But personally for me, the way CM Punk just talks to people is a lot different to how John Cena talks to people. So for me, CM Punk is the greatest of all time on the mic by a mile. Yeah, anyways. WWE refused to let Punk fly because for medical reasons, because of what happened at War Games. Obviously, there was another reason into why he's not been on Raw for the last couple of weeks. I'm not going to mention because I just don't want to bring it up. But I think he just didn't want to talk about it because I think it would make him emotional. So he just left it as that it was medical reasons to why he wasn't on Raw for a couple of weeks. Said that brains don't run in Bron Breakker's family. Said that Bron can't handle 2025. Did I just say 2020? What the fuck did I just... Sounds like I said it really wrong then. Anyways, said that Bron can't handle 2025. That sounds really weird out loud. I don't know why. Punk, because he couldn't do it on himself, because obviously in War Games he had the help of his teammates, and every time he's faced CM Punk one-on-one, he has the help of the Division. So he can never beat CM Punk on his own. He has to have help, which is true. It is true. So hopefully at the January 5th show at Raw, for the World Championship, it's literally a one-on-one, but it ain't gonna end up staying that way, I can tell you that. Said that Paul uses people and then drops them when times get tough for the person that he's managing. Said if Bron mentions AJ again, he will rip his eyes out and piss on him. I mean, fair enough. Each to your own, I guess. He said that Bron doesn't have the heart to carry the company because, again, he has to have people by his side. He can't do it by himself. And then he also said that Punk, that Bron needs to bring everybody, and again mentioned that he just can't do anything on his own, which is kind of true. And then said when he wins, Bronson will be doing TikToks with a TikTok scammer. And Paul Heyman will leave him, and he will just be laying there looking at the stars, thinking, what have I done? What have I gotten myself into? But yeah, mentioned that Bronson will be making TikToks with Logan Paul. Just, there was a lot of other stuff that he said as well, but obviously I write down what he's saying as he's saying it, and by the time I finish writing down what he said, he's like a few sentences into what he's talking about, so I didn't write down everything, but there was a lot more that he said in this segment that I wish I included, because it was just such a good segment. But if you haven't watched Raw and you want something to watch when it comes to Raw last night, because you just like to watch the highlights, but you want something to watch fully from beginning to end, CM Punk segment is definitely the one to watch, and Gunther's segment at the beginning as well. for sure. The second match that we're going to speak about, there was 4 matches last night, but I'm only speaking about 3 out of 4 of them because I just didn't really want to speak about the Usos versus New Day. It was a very decent match, don't get me wrong, but I just didn't feel like writing it down and speaking about it because, yeah, just didn't. The second match of the night that we're going to talk about is the Women's World Championship match between Raquel Rodriguez and Stephanie Vercoeur. I gave it a high 2 out of 5. It was definitely the worst match of the night because it wasn't very long. And yeah, not much happened in this match. Raquel was pretty much dominating from the beginning. And then it did become a quite back and forth match. We got the Devil's Kiss, and then that was pretty much it from what I really saw. I did watch this match from beginning to end, but there wasn't really much to talk about apart from Raquel dominating, and then at the beginning, and then it kind of becoming a bit of a back and forth throughout the rest of the match, and then we got the Devil's Kiss, and that was pretty much it. But then when they went to the outside of the ring and started brawling on the outside, Nikki did attack Stephanie and Raquel Rodriguez, obviously ending it in a double disqualification. And that's the reasoning to why I said earlier that I can see Stephanie putting her women's world championship on the line on the January 5th show against Raquel Rodriguez and Nikki Bella, because obviously Stephanie's going to be pissed that Raquel didn't get a proper championship match on last night's Raw. And she's also going to be pissed that Nikki Bella attacked her and got involved in her match with Raquel, and obviously Raquel's going to be pissed that Nikki got involved and attacked her. So I can definitely see them doing a triple threat at the January 5th show, which I am so down for. Free championship match at the beginning of Raw for the new year. Yes, definitely. I can definitely see that happening. But yeah, like I said, it was a high 2 out of 5 match because not really much happened in this match, and it was quite quick. But it was still a high 2 out of 5, not 3. But yeah, we got some announcements for next week's Raw. We have Asuka going one-on-one with Rhea Ripley. We also have Bayley going one-on-one with Roxanne Perez. I feel like we've seen that match so many times this year, but it is what it is, I guess. It kind of makes sense because obviously Roxanne and Liv Morgan, by the looks of it, are part of the tag team division, and so is Bayley and Lyra Valkyria. So it's understandable to why those two are facing off because of the whole, obviously, them being a part of the tag team division. But at the same time, we've seen Bayley versus Roxanne, Bayley versus Raquel, even though Raquel's not a part of it anymore, but, well, the tag team division. That looks things anyway. And then we've obviously seen Lyra versus Roxanne so many times, Lyra versus Raquel so many times, but hopefully Liv Morgan starts getting herself involved, and then we get Bayley versus Liv and Lyra versus Liv, because those 2 matches I'll be down to see like quite a few times. But yeah, we do have Bayley versus Roxanne Perez next week, and we also have Javon Evans versus Rayo, who is also known as Pete Dunne, because you can definitely tell by the eyes and the structure of the guy that it is Pete Dunne of Los Americanos, which is going to be a good match because Pete Dunne can wrestle in the ring. Like, he is incredible in the ring, and so is Javon Evans. So that could be like definitely match of the night next week if it's booked correctly and it's just a normal one-on-one match, but probably the rest of Los Americanos are going to get involved. But it's cool to see that Javon Evans is a part of Raw and has a match next week, because to me that makes me feel that they're actually moving him up to the main roster, and I can potentially see him moving up, very, very soon, because yeah, I feel like he's going to be on a bit of both, because obviously he's got a feud going on with Ricky Saints on NXT, but I do think that once this feud with Ricky Saints is done, I do think Javon Evans is moving up in the next 2 to 3 months, because he's on Raw next week, which is interesting considering he's a part of NXT. But I'm down for Javon to move up to NXT. I'm down for Javon to move up to the main roster because he's fucking incredible. So I am definitely down for it for sure. And then the last match of the night and the main event of the night was Rey Mysterio versus Logan Paul. I did end up giving this match a high 3 out of 5 because it was a pretty decent match and a very decent main event. Logan started whacking Rey with his belt. Pretty sure that's a disqualification, but okay. He had a we had a lovely knees up by Rey as Logan Paul was doing a springboard dive onto Rey Mysterio. He put his knees up perfectly. Sometimes they mess up when they put their knees up, even though it's the most simple move to do. But Rey done it like perfectly and at the perfect time. So it was a perfect knees up by Rey Mysterio. Was pretty much Logan Paul on top throughout this match, to be fair, which I'm not too fussed about because obviously Logan is much younger than Rey Mysterio, so it makes sense for him to be controlling the majority of this match. Rey went for a 619 twice, but couldn't put it off. Logan delivered 2 out of the 3 amigos to Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio counted the third one. And we got a lovely suplex from the top rope by Rey Mysterio to Logan Paul when Logan was trying to deliver the third amigos. Bronson and Braun did end up making their way down to the ramp, but were attacked by CM Punk with a steel chair. We finally got the 619 after Rey Mysterio obviously trying it 2 times. On the third time, he was third time lucky. He did end up able to pull off the 619, but noticed the brass knuckles on the apron, and as he went over the rope to grab them, the mystery man came out of nowhere, curb stomped Rey Mysterio, and Logan Paul was able to win with the frog splash and the help from the masked man, who had a mask on where you could really, really see his face more than you could in other times. And the man did run away. The masked man did run away as CM Punk made his way into the ring, but stood on the stairs and took the mask off, and it was revealed that the masked man was Austin Theory, which we all knew about, but as much as it was quite lackluster and the crowd didn't really react, they kind of cheered for Austin Theory a little bit. And you could hear like a few like shocked like noises, but it was quite quiet when he revealed himself because we all knew it was going to be Austin Theory. But I do think that there is another person because I do find it weird that they've suddenly revealed it on a random Monday Night Raw at the end of Raw. I do find that a little bit weird, and plus last week's guy was for one taller and for two, sorry, skinnier than Austin Theory. So there is definitely 2 people involved in this masked man situation. And plus, the guy that attacked CM Punk in War Games had brown eyes. So I feel like what they've done is the guy that attacked CM Punk at Survivor Series was Austin Theory, but he had brown contact lenses in. The second time, when the person helped attacked Rey Mysterio last week, I also believe that was Austin Theory, but the guy at the end of the night last week that attacked LA Knight, I actually think that was Montez Ford, but they're going to play it off that all this time it was Austin Theory. But I actually do think that the second guy that attacked LA Knight, not Rey Mysterio, was Montez Ford. I do think that was a different person. I do not think that was Austin Theory. I think the one that attacked Rey Mysterio was Austin Theory, and the one that attacked CM Punk at War Games was Austin Theory, but he just had brown contact lenses in. But the guy that attacked LA Knight and curb stomped LA Knight, I actually think that was Montez Ford. And I think Logan Paul is starting his own faction. I don't know what he's going to call it, but I feel like they're bringing another faction into WWE because there isn't many factions in WWE. Like there's New Day and Grayson Waller, there's the Judgment Day, there's the Vision, the White Six, and the MFTs, and I guess DIY with Candice LeRae. I guess there is quite a few. There's 6, but I feel like we need another one on Raw because a lot of them are on SmackDown. So I feel like we need another one on Raw. And I do think Logan is going to start his own vision with Austin Theory and Montez Ford as part of a faction, which is going to be very intriguing and interesting to see. But yeah, I do think there's two masked people. I don't think there's one because it's very random that they just suddenly revealed it at the end of Raw, to be honest with you. I feel like there's somebody else that's going to help Bron Breakker potentially on the January 5th show. Not to win, but maybe distract Bron Breakker by accident. And that's going to cause tension within the division with Logan Paul. Because I feel like the Masked Man's going to come out to help Bron, but accidentally ends up helping CM Punk. And it's going to be revealed that the Masked Man is somebody else, Austin Theory, because he's obviously already been revealed, and he's going to be as confused, pretend to be as confused with Logan Paul as to who this other person is, and it ends up being Montez Ford. That's what I can see happening. But after Austin Theory revealed himself as the Masked Man, obviously CM Punk went onto the top rope and started having a go at the Austin Theory. Bron Breakker was ready in the corner as CM Punk got down from the top rope to spear the living shit out of him. And that's how Raw ended last night, with CM Punk getting the living shit speared out of him, and Bron telling him, if you ever talk about my family again, I will make sure that you will never walk again, pretty much, and showed off the world title. So yeah, that is how Raw ended last night. Like I said, I gave it a 5 out of 5, but it was a low 5 out of 5. It was only just a 5 out of 5 for me last night. Only just. And the reason being for the 5 out of 5 and it not being a 4 out of 5 is the Gunther segment. What else? I don't think of stuff that happened. I didn't write down everything, so I'm trying to think. My memory's a little bit blank at the moment because, like I said at the beginning of the video, I've just literally just got Stranger Things on my mind, so it's really difficult to think anything wrestling at the moment. I literally can't think of anything. Obviously, the CM Punk segment was fucking fantastic. Oh, the Asuka, Kairi, Rhea Ripley, and Io Sky brawl as well. The New Day versus the Usos was a very decent tag team match. Ivy Nile versus Maxine Dupree was a decent match. Like I said, it was a low 3 out of 5, but it still helps towards the 5 out of 5 Raw. And then what else? I feel like I'm forgetting something. Nikki getting herself involved was a factor into it because I'm excited for the triple threat. I'm not going to lie to you. I am excited to see a triple threat between all three of them. And then the main event. There probably is a couple of other things I just can't think of off the top of my head, but there's 7 reasonings right there to why I gave Raw last night a low 5 out of 5, because like I said, it was way better than last week's Raw, so I could not give it a 4 out of 5, the same as last week, because last week's Raw was good, but just something felt off about it. But this week's Raw was pretty good from beginning to end, and like I said, better than last week. So I did give it a low 5 out of 5. Do you guys agree with me with this Raw being a 5 out of 5, or do you believe it was good, could have been better, so you gave it a 4 out of 5, or do you believe it was a decent Raw? There was a few segments that you liked and a couple of matches that you liked, but for you personally, it wasn't quite a 4 or 5 out of 5 Raw, so you gave it a 3 out of 5? Or do you believe that this Raw was pretty meh? There was like one match that you liked and like a few segments, but not really much you liked about this Raw, so you gave it a 2 out of 5? Or do you believe this was the worst Raw of the year? You wish this Raw never happened. You will not go back and watch anything to do with this Raw, so you felt it was awful, and you gave it a 1 out of 5. I'll be very intrigued to know your opinions on last night's Raw. And yeah, that was my review, guys, for the Raw after Saturday Night's main event. I will be doing a Raw. No, I won't. I've just done it. I will be doing a SmackDown after Saturday Night's main event as well. And also potentially some point this week, or maybe some point next week. It'll probably be this week though, that I am going to be filming my early predictions for WrestleMania, on matches that I do feel and believe that could potentially be happening at WrestleMania next year. So I will be doing a early WrestleMania prediction video at some point this week as well. And yeah, anyways guys, this has been Charlie, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.